What's up, dogs? Just been brainstorming with my buddies over on Overclock, modding friends and associates about the inappropriate content mod I've got going here with Lamptron sponsorship, and I thought I'd brainstorm with my YouTube friends as well and get you guys helping me out with some ways of making this a really outstanding case mod, a case I wouldn't be ashamed to bring to any event and show. And I'm going to be doing some cast acrylic, some etched acrylic, some carved acrylic, doing some humorous mods and maybe some dark mods all at the same time. And it always helps me to have feedback. So here's the Cosmos 1000 and the parts, and before I burn up too much footage here, let me just show you some things. These are just odd little things that come to mind. Okay, usually I hate these things. Okay, these are actually a really neat little engineering masterpiece. These little, there's so many little parts. There's the little spring for the blue plate with the pins that retains the drive, and then you've got the body, which has a cap which retains a spring, and then you have, like, this is almost like a ballpoint pen clicker. It's almost identical to it. It's a couple of nylon gears, so your ratchets up and down to either retain or not retain the drive. Anyway, I usually toss these things. I think they're hideous looking, but I'm going to be doing these castings, and I'm going to start with using modeling clay that I'll then paint latex over until I get a thick enough mold I can peel it off, and then I will be able to pour in polyurethane 2-part clear cast from Tap Plastics, and I'll make these little castings. And this is a neat little surface to embellish, because instead of having these just kind of like these little ugly edifices on the side of the case here, even though they're, wonderful engineering and all, I just didn't never like them. But now, if I were to make these light up and glow and have something on them to indicate inappropriate content, now that could be fun. So I need to find some repetitive motif that I can use. And I would think probably the one thing that comes to mind just looking at this is an eye. It has an eye shape to it already. So I could go with that. Now, I'm limited to what I can cast. I cannot cast a precision part. I cannot recast this in latex. This is very precisely cast part out of hard plastic, not the polyurethane that I'll be casting, which is soft and would break if I tried to snap it in or bend it. This button would be impossible to cast, but I can cast things that I can apply to this by modeling around this, casting it, and then using the parts and gluing them on. So, maybe some ideas about what would look cool on that. That's something. Another real fast thing, obviously, a big deal is going to be the front door. I mean, here's this. It's a lovely piece of metal. It's one of the heaviest parts of the whole build, is this door. And there's some space behind it. And it's got a great big, wonderful blank canvas. And first thing that pops to my mind is like those labels you see on records and DVDs and stuff that kids aren't supposed to see, TV-MA, explicit lyrics, or whatever, But I don't know if I want it to necessarily be the first thing you see, because in some ways I want it to be more subtle and more arty. So I am thinking of maybe doing a big carved acrylic slab and setting that in there, because this can peel off. This is a piece of plastic. Take that off and slap down my own carved and lit acrylic slab with some embedded CCL rods. That's one thought. And then you have this. This is the front panel that goes over this part of the chassis. As you can see, there is no front fan. The case is designed not to have a front fan, to be quiet. I'd like to retain that feature. It's a good feature. And there's space here, as you can see, and this could be dealt with. And for some reason, I don't know if you can see it, but do you see a shadow? This is like when people find like the Virgin Mary on a piece of toast. I see a woman I see a long-limbed woman with her arms, you know, just slightly open, just standing there, but naked as a jaybird. Can you see that? Is it just me? I see a woman in this, and I think it would be awesome to have a really sexy girl in cast acrylic that's cut into that mesh, like she's just coming out of it, and then maybe something around it. I don't know, just popped to mind. This is a neat mod. This is still all factory fresh, but if you look at the power switches and reset switches, you can see that there's two sets of pins. You've got the pins they use, and then there's this other set of pins. So I could solder leads to these other poles, and I could get one of those sound effect modules from like Spencer's Gifts. They have these ones where you press a button and look a little key fob, and it makes an orgasmic moan or a groan or a or whatever. And then there's ones that make all these farting sounds. And they kind of randomly cycle, so you just keep pressing the button, you get different sounds. So if I did farting sounds for the reset and moaning sounds for the power, you've got some inappropriate content going the minute you fire up the rig. Just a thought. But anyway, there'll be more to come. I don't want to burn up too much video here on just this, but I guess I will go with the things that I hear back from you guys. But you can see there's a lot of surfaces that can be dealt with. This is another thing that if we choose to use it, I mean, that's a lot of surface to do something with. It'd be fun to play with that in some way. I think I'm going to leave the handles alone because I want the case to be sturdy. I want to be able to grab it, pick it up, put it down. I don't want to worry about them breaking, so I can't make this out of plastic. This is the under tray. Gets lit, perhaps. I mean, it seems obvious. It needs some lighting, so I can mod this for LED lighting. Use some lighting strips. Maybe have a ring puck under it, so it's radiating light in all directions underneath it. Maybe several of them, maybe a red one and a white one and a blue one, and they can strobe out, make a pattern of light on the surface. And this, of course, this is ideal for lighting. And there's something really ominous I always think about, red lighting coming out of that. So if you had your lighting aimed this way, it would stream out the back, and that would be some indirect lighting, perhaps. And then there's this great big surface here. And that's got to have something serious going on with it. And I really haven't really thought about it yet, but I almost thought about maybe a hand coming up out of it. Something really shocking. An eye that blinks and looks around. Something that just really just is disturbing. I don't know. That's why I need feedback to know how crazy this stuff is. But the chassis is pretty much done. It doesn't need much. I don't really see doing much with these. I don't want to start getting into painting these because these have nice little lovely rubber gaskets and all this other stuff, and I don't want to start taking them all apart. At this point for painting, I like the way they look. The silver and black's okay with me. I think it's a fine look. And then one last thing for you guys to think about is these trays. There's 6 hard drives. Now, if we're talking inappropriate content, this is where your inappropriate content would be stored. So I am really looking at that as that's got to have something on it. Now I was thinking maybe an illuminated label using a luminescent strip, like a light film EL strip behind a piece of applied acrylic. That could be a cast piece because you've got some room here. As you can see, the handle is this tall, so you could have a tiny little figurine in there, for instance. And I was thinking maybe one of a pirate, maybe one of a stripper, you know, I don't know, maybe one of a rapper. That'd be a lot of modeling work, and I might be able to pull it off, but it might not be visible, clear, illuminated. It just might not look like anything. It might look like a glowing blob, you know, instead of some, you know, gold tooth wrapper. So maybe very clear signage in white and black, like those labels where it would say TV-MA or explicit lyrics or whatever. Pirate Day.